The last video reminded you that the learner has seen others drive, but has never operated any of the controls before, so they need mentoring on each step. The biggest mistakes the supervisor can make are assuming the learner knows how to do something, shout, bully, or be condescending. No pressure, but this first session sets the tone for future sessions. Keep it short, simple, and fun. So on the assumption you have an automatic small to medium-sized vehicle and have found a safe and quiet location and the weather is suitable, it's time to start. Got the L plates? The supervisor should drive to the suitable location, then pulls over and turns off the vehicle. Don't forget the required warning plates need to be fitted in a clear and visible location. Then the learner gets in and the distance from the steering wheel and pedals is checked and set. Remember, we are trading off a higher seating position and mirrors that are incorrectly watching the side of the vehicle in order for the learner to feel less stressed. What we're not trading off or accepting is a poor posture or poor steering position. Seatbelts must be worn because first, it's the law. Secondly, even at low speed, an impact can result in serious injuries and the airbags deploying towards the occupants. I would recommend you have your windows down so you can hear approaching traffic and the mirrors set up to help you see behind. So thinking back to the bicycle analogy, if they're going to go, they need to know how to stop. And they might not know what pedal does what and how sensitive the pedals are. So just have them take off gently, even just idle forward with no accelerator pedal, and then brake softly to a stop. Take off again and brake again. Accelerate more and brake some more. We are building an understanding of what each pedal does and how reactive it is, plus building muscle memory. If the person you are teaching is very nervous or not very coordinated, I suggest you lock the automatic transmission into its lowest gear so they cannot get too much speed. Don't overwhelm the novice with a detailed explanation of each gear position and its function. This session is all about meeting the horse and getting on its back. Things to look out for that occasionally happen. The learner could wrongly assume that with 2 pedals under the dashboard and 2 feet, that they use the left foot for braking. Now, left foot braking is despised by driving instructors, and the learner will fail their licensed road test if they left foot brake. Left foot braking is a performance driving technique, and even in manual racing sedans, there are times a race driver might left foot brake. I left foot brake in automatics and have done so for 20 years, but you don't want the learner left foot braking. The left foot should be bracing them, positioned to the left on the footrest. The right heel should be positioned under the brake and the foot twisted to the accelerator. This allows the learner and all drivers to turn their foot between the pedals rather than lift between the pedals. Lifting is slow, tiresome in traffic, and results in hard application of the pedals in a jerky ride. Pedal dancing or twisting the foot is quicker, easier to repeat all day, and results in smoother, less sudden pedal application. Footwear is an important consideration. A common misconception is that you cannot drive in bare feet. This is not true. But driving schools and government testing want people to have appropriate PPE. Hence, they often require secure and enclosed footwear. The learner can practice in bare feet, but do not leave the shoes in the footwell or under the seat where they could foul with the pedals. Drivers shouldn't wear loose and flexible footwear as they can increase reaction time. The footwear moves after the foot and easily get caught between the pedals. Likewise, heavy boots will result in heavier pedal application and can lead to 2 pedals being pressed at once. Often when braking, the side of the accelerator pedal is also pressed, resulting in slowing and going at the same time. Secure footwear with a thin sole is best. The thinner the sole, the more feel the wearer will get for pedal application and will result in smoother driving. Before we talk about the next manoeuvre, where speeds will be higher, it's worth talking about a rare and dangerous situation that instructors call panicking on the accelerator. This is where the vehicle does something the student is not expecting and they panic and tense up and they control the steering and don't realise they've locked their right leg down and fully depressed the accelerator pedal. So the situation is getting more frightening and they're steering to avoid danger, but they're speeding up, and so the situation is getting worse and they've forgotten to brake and stop the vehicle. A learner driving school vehicle has dual controls, so the instructor can brake. You don't. So if you see this developing, urge them to brake. And if they're not, take the vehicle to neutral and apply the handbrake. If they're doing okay, change the vehicle to a higher gear. Gear 2 would be best. And checking no traffic is around, get the learner to accelerate to 40 kilometers an hour, then brake hard. Repeat this several times. as we're getting them used to applying the brakes, just like learning to stop the bicycle. No doubt, after several movements forwards, the vehicle will need to be turned around. So make sure there is no traffic and get them to signal and turn. It's okay if their steering technique is ordinary. It's day one, and that is for the next lesson. After several 40km/h breaks, and assuming that both you and the novice are unstressed, it's time to do some general driving at low speeds. We're going to have them indicate and move away from the curb, and then indicate and pull over near the curb. If all is still going well, get them to practice to reverse slowly in a straight line, using their mirrors and trying to stay beside the curb. By now you've probably spent 30 to 45 minutes of driving, and I recommend you call it. Congratulate them and ask for any feedback, including is there anything they want you to explain better or do differently. Even if it was their best first drive ever, do not let them drive back to their house in traffic. They are not ready for this, and unless you do this as a job, you're not ready for this. Remember, with an adult now driving, you need to remove the L plates, and don't forget to record the driving time in their learner's logbook or using the app. It is valuable time and gets them used to working towards the mandatory number of hours needed. The next video in this series will introduce steering techniques, how to select a driving instructor, and what type of car to buy as a first car. Our driver training support doesn't stop there. If you go to our YouTube channel at SDT Australia, you'll find videos on the various courses we offer, plus over 40 free-to-access videos on safe driving. These include videos on the correct use of roundabouts, traffic light tips, braking distance comparisons, crash testing that we have performed, tyre safety, carjacking prevention, and the list goes on and on and on. So please feel free to access these videos, and I hope they support the training you are planning to deliver. In all segments of this video, when a learner is driving, the filming is done by a backseat passenger or a fixed camera. In all segments where filming is done from the front seat, the vehicle is parked or the driver is not a learner. When a learner is driving on the road, the front seat adult supervisor cannot be distracted or impaired. This supervisor cannot be using a mobile phone for any reason.